Good Vok, everyone. And thank you for coming and being my friends. I really appreciate that. Welcome to the Motzei Shabbos Baal Shem Tov Sichos Haran get together, shmooze. My son is an Uman, so he's not going to be joining us tonight, I don't think. But I actually never sent, an invitation to Hillel. Let me just, hold on just 1 second. Okay, so here we go. Let's get, this is an Inyan on Motzei Shabbos to tell stories of the Baal Shem Tov. So let's start with the story of the Baal Shem Tov. And it says as follows. In those days, the Talmidim of the Baal Shem HaKodesh and the Maggid of Mizrich, they would come to Mezhibozh to be mishtatech on the tzin of the Baal Shem Tov. And they would stay in the house of the Baal Shem Tov that now belonged to Reb Simcha and Rasfega. Because the Baal Shem Tov, he had a son who was called Reb Tzvi, I think from Titayev, and Reb Tzvi was a tzaddik of his own. He had his own, and Reb Tzvi was his son, and Ras Odel, the famous Ras Odel, was his daughter. So he left her the house. Reb Tzvi went to the town of Titayev, and it was this is where he lived. When Ras Odel, she had 3 children. She had one child was a Baruch of Mezhibozh. Another child was Degel Machne Ephraim from Sidlikov. And the third was a daughter called Fega. Now the Baal Shem Tov had a Talmud who was his confidant, and he was the one that was in charge of the give and take that the relationship the Baal Shem HaKodesh had with the hidden tzaddikim of the generation. And he was basically, the Ben Bais by the Baal Shem Tov. And his first wife passed away, and the Baal Shem Tov had another Talmud. His name was, I believe, Mordechai of Neshchiz, who was the I believe the son of a Mechel. Anyhow, Bekitzur was a huge tzaddik, and he had a sister who was an almona, I believe. I think that was the story. So after the passing of the Reb Nachman Horodenker, that was the name of the Talmud of the Baal Shem Tov. So the brother of this woman came to Baal Shem Tov to talk about a shidduch for his sister. So the Baal Shem Tov said, why don't she let her marry my confidant, Reb Nachman Horodenker. So they said, okay, they make a shidduch, and they made a wedding, and the Baal Shem Tov was there, of course, and Reb Nachman came out of the chuppah. And once the chuppah was over, Reb Nachman disappeared. He was gone. Now, that is not de rigueur. This is not the usual, all right? In fact, it is downright scandalous. Right after the chuppah, boom, but he's gone. And time passes. A week passes, 2 weeks pass, 3 weeks pass. And people didn't know where he is. So her brother came to Baal Shem Tov and says, what's going on? Her husband is gone. So the Baal Shem Tov said, let me find out where he is. And we'll ask him. Baal Shem Tov did what he did. And he saw where he is. And he sent somebody to him and called him back. And once he came to the Baal Shem Tov said, why did you do this? Why, you made her a aguna. It's like why did you do it to her? So he said that when he was under the chuppah, he had a revelation, Ruach HaKodesh, that they will have a son. And from that son, Mashiach will come. But the mother will pass away giving birth. And he had such big rachmanas. She was a young woman. It's a big rachmanas on her. So he ran away. Just. So when they told, I think Neshchizer, I think this is who it was, told his sister, it was Nachman's wife, they told him what the reason was. She said, if my husband is such a great tzaddik that he is able to see that, and this is the truth, he says, I'm willing. And she became expecting. And throughout the pregnancy, she just begged the Kodesh Baruch Hu to give her 30 days with the baby. Just 30 days with the baby. And Kachav, she gave birth, and she was 30 days with the baby, and then she passed away. And Nachman Rodenke was so bitter. He said, because of her Mesiras Nefesh, she was willing to give up her life in order to have this child. That Mishamayim was such an auspicious time, such an Es Ratzon, that if she would have davened for the decree to be completely removed and she will continue to live, it would have been accepted. But she only asked for 30 days. The son of their son was called Reb Simcha. Now, being that his mother passed away, and his father was the messenger of the Baal Shem Tov to deal with all the hidden tzaddikim generation, so the child, grew up in the Baal Shem Tov's house. He was running around. This is the way he was. So Baal Shem Tov looked at him, and he told his daughter, Ras Odul, I like this child. Ras Odul knew who her father was. So as the boy grew up, she figured, why did my father tell me that he liked this boy? It must be that he wants me to make a shidduch and marry off my daughter, Fega, to this boy. Unless Fega had the Ruach HaKodesh herself, her brothers, the famous Aboch Mejibosh, and Degamach Ephraim used to call her Fega the prophetess. She had Ruach HaKodesh, the granddaughter of the Baal Shem Tov. So, and her husband, Reb Simcha, was totally totally, he was away from the world. He had nothing to do with the world. It's just that he was in the field and he was in the forest day and night, and that's all he did. So and they had a child called Israel, and that child passed away, and his mother, Masfeger, she took the baby, died. She took him to her grandfather's tziyun, the Baal Shem Tov, and she put the baby there. She cried, and she told him, she's just, you do with him whatever you want. And she left, she cried, whatever, she left, and she went back home. And she left back home, and I think she stayed there with the child. She stayed there, and she cried, and she fell asleep. She fell asleep, with her head on the matzeva of the Baal Shem Tov. And Baal Shem Tov came to her in a dream and told him, fine, okay. He says, you troubled me, how, I had to look for his neshama, and all these neshamas, how many neshamas I had to sift through until I found him. Fine. And she woke up, and the child was alive. And she took him home. But that child looked like he was dead. It was like green. He didn't look out. And they used to call him Rabbi Stol Mess, Israel the dead one. Because he looked like somebody who died. And, then she had a son, Rabbi Chil, and then she also happened to have a son called Rabbi Nachman. And so that house were, her two big sons, the both of Mezhibozh, Rabbi Ephraim of Sadlikov, they were both Rebbes. They had all the Eidah, and they also they didn't need the house. They didn't need the house. So she gave the house to Masfeger and her husband, Reb Simcha. So this is where the story is. So when the Talmidei Baal Shem Tov used to come, to be mishtatech on Tzivah the Baal Shem Tov, that's the house where they stayed. They needed a place to stay. They stayed in that house. And they're the parents of Rabbi Nachman of Breslau. Now, the derech of tzaddikim, of course, all they speak about is Torah and Avodas Hashem, and stories about the Baal Shem Tov. And Reb Nachman, you would stand next to their table. He was a tiny boy. He was like 2-3 years old. And he grabbed every single thing that they were saying. And until it was engraved in his heart that he wants to follow their way, and everything that they said, that's the way he wanted to live. That's the way he wanted to live. And he said he was 3 years old when he realized, that's it, I'm going to be an Oved Hashem, and this is where he started. It's like Lahavda Fafaf, you find it in many prodigies, the prodigies with piano players and violin players or Mozart or whatever it is. They're all from age 2-3, they're already, Lahavda Fafaf, here is, the light of entire Am Yisrael. Age 3 decides this is it. This is when he starts serving Kodesh Baruch Hu from then on. And one of the stories that he was able to hear and really excited him with tremendous urging to HaKadosh Baruch Hu was the story of how his grandfather, the Holy Baal Shem Tov, starting to get into Avodas Hashem when he was a little boy. He was like 5 years old. The Baal Shem Tov. It's known that Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh was born to his father, Rabbi Eliezer, when Rabbi Eliezer was 100 years old, like Avraham Avinu, and to his mother Sarah. And immediately, when Baal Shem Tov was born, his mother passed away. When he became 5 years old, his father became sick, and he called his son, his 5-year-old son, And he told him in a word like a will and testament. And he says, listen, it is known that my end has arrived. He said, and I must leave the world like everybody does, they reach a certain age and reach that time. So he says, my son, do not be afraid of anything except the Kodesh Baruch Hu alone, because the Kodesh Baruch Hu fills the earth. And always, picture in your mind that the Kodesh Baruch Hu is with you. And whatever it is that you need anything, never ask anybody. Just ask the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Ask Hashem Baruch. Because there is no other reality except for Hashem Baruch. There's no Metzius without him. And get yourself used to speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with your own language. Their language is Yiddish. Your language might be English. Other people Spanish. Some people speak Urdu. It's also a language. It's called Urdu. I'm not sure where Urdu is. I was in Afghanistan or something like that. I'm not sure. There's whatever your language is, Kodesh Baruch Hu says, no problem. Speak to him in your own language, because when in your own language, it's very easy to pour your heart. And always, always, always go with the Shem Baruch. And with these words, he passed away. And the Baal Shem Tov remained a Yosem, alone, an orphan without a father and a mother. And the words that his father spoke to him before he passed away were engraved in his heart. He made a tremendous reishim on him. And he started to speak to Kodesh Baruch Hu. And he would go all the way around. Being that he was an orphan, people were busy. In those days, people fought for their daily living. I mean, it's not like today. So whatever it is, so nobody really paid attention to him, basically. I mean, he was just running, quote unquote, running wild, and there was nobody to look at him. And the place where he would sleep at night in some kind of besmedrash, he wouldn't remain there by the day. And he would go from one place to another, and he went in the fields and in the forests. But one thing was very strong by him, to Mekayim, the last will and testaments of his father, to engrave in his mind that there's no reality besides the Kodesh Baruch Hu, B'chlal. In every movement, any nekuda, Hashem Baruch is there. The only thing you need to do is to speak and talk to him, Hashem Baruch. And this is what he did for many, many years. And that's the thing that got him to all his madrigas. Rabbeinu said in Sichos Haran, and we learned this, Rabbeinu says that all the tzaddikim got to their level by following this route of speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with your own language. So, without further ado, let's share the Sichos Haran for tonight, and let's get into it. Tonight's Sicha is Sichos Samech Tet, which is 69. It says Zamru. This is based on one of the beginnings of Tehillim. Tehillim was written in 10 different kind of modes of poetry. This is Asara Minei Negina, 10 kinds of poetry. One of them is called Lamenatzeach. Lamenatzeach Mizmor LeDavid. And so the Gemara says in Pesachim, what does it mean? Lamenatzeach Mizmor LeDavid. What does it mean to the victor? So the Gemara says, Zamru lemi shemenatzchino yisoi v'sameach. Sing to he who is won over, that people win, with their interaction with him, and he's happy. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is happy when people win against him. What does it mean? It says as follows: as it were, you have to win over HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as it were. What does it mean? Even though it seems to a person, it seems to me like HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want to get me closer, because I really messed up royally, and I rather won't. I don't want to get into these things. And even now, I'm not able to behave properly like HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. Still, a person needs to be mechazik himself b'yoser, and just hold on, and like spread himself, as it were, on the ground, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and like to spread his hands in supplication to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to have Rahman on you, and bring you closer to Avodas Hashem. Because no matter how bad I might be, no matter how messed up, I want to be a Jew. Win over Hashem. As if HaKadosh, like you're not worthy of it, but you want a woman. You want to win. You want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to bring you closer, despite the fact that it says Nimtza sheroitza l'natzech es Hashem Yisborach, that person wants to win over Hashem Yisborach, as it were. Who has gewaldige simcha from this. Who is very happy from this. That is, if people, quote unquote, defeat him. This is the Sicha tonight. It's a Meredika Sicha. It's a Meredika Sicha because it touches all the points that are relevant in Avodas Hashem. Because, as we say in Sipurey Maisias, we're learning the Maisa from the cripple. We all feel like cripples. We all feel like cripples. We're not making it. We're messing up. We always are so aware of our shortcomings and how much we're really not hacking it. And everything, I feel today like I feel yesterday, like I felt a month ago or 3 months ago. I'm supposed to daven, but, it's like there's a pervasive feeling. There's a word in Hebrew which is called stam. Stam means for naught, for no reason. Stam. Stam is used in different ways. A person may joke against somebody else, and somebody else is hurt. And it says, stam, forget about it. It says, I didn't mean anything by it. What's with you? What, you can't take a joke? But basically stam is the attribute of an animal. When an animal goes around, why is the animal here? Why not? And then it's going there. Why is it there? Why not? Because the existence of the animal is directionless, is reasonless. Stam means without reason. Stam. the whole fight of this world vis-a-vis the next world is that stam business. The goyim live a life of stam. Obviously, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a reason why they exist. But the inside the head of the goy, and by ready reference, the Jews that are close to them, and it's like this is the psychology of this world. There's no reason whatsoever. They make up, something. Listen, let's say that you take a rubber ball, a plastic ball, whatever it is, a leather ball, and you shoot it, and it goes through a hoop. And this is like high. And you shoot it, and it goes into the hoop. Let's say that this is important. Because what that will do, it'll get us to watch people fight one another, but it'll be, a modified fight. Nobody's going to die, but they're going to be winners and losers. And I'll choose one team, and you'll choose another team, and I'll get a tremendous satisfaction when my team wins and your team loses. Because my team is really hot and your team ain't diddly squat. Yay. No. So your team won. Man, it won the championship. It is, and therefore, and what about next year? Next year, we start again. You're starting from the bottom. So what was it about? They told in Chabad, the father-in-law of the last Rebbe, the Rebbe Rayatz, they told him about the Olympic Games, that people run the distance, it's a 100-meter dash, okay? And they break the world record. They shave off 1/10 of a second or 2/10 of a second or whatever it is. So her response was, what are they doing with all these tenths of seconds that they accumulate from all the records that are being broken? What are they doing with all that time? The whole thing is stam. It's a conjured value. Everything that the Goyim have in this world is a conjured make-believe value. In other words, it's stam. It doesn't mean anything. It could be artwork. It could be music. It could be a lot of things. All these things are very potent. All these things have great powers for good or for bad. But in and on themselves, they don't mean anything. So there was a Mozart in the world. So, yeah, and the answer is it's stam. It's stam. The great battle that a Jew feels when he endeavors to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the biggest challenge is that stam, stam, I go to shul, stam, open up a siddur, I daven yes, I daven no, I daven better, stam. And then I go and it's stam. I get this pervasive feeling that my life is stam. I know I'm not a goy, Baruch Hashem. I know that there is a reason for everything, and there is a focus, as we're learning in Torah Chaf Aleph already for months, that you have to be directed towards, the Orapanim, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Atika Kadisha, the Orapanim, all the different names that they have to that, and with everything that you're doing in this world, guarding your eyes, guarding your nose, whatever. But most of the time, I'm not really doing that. Most of the time, I just, I don't know, stam. No, okay, so why don't you wake up? Because a part of me doesn't really want to wake up. So here I am with a conundrum. On one hand, I feel that I live most of my life meaningless. Chas v'chalila, I believe I'm a Jew, whatever it is. I go with a beard and payas, whatever it is, with tzitzis, whatever it is. I put tefillin every day. It's gewalt. It's a gewalt. But I feel like so much of it is stam. It's like nothing is doing, nothing is moving, nothing is like a. So you come to Kodesh Baruch Hu, and you beg him, bring me closer to you. Open up my eyes. Let me get excited about what it is, and I should run after you. This is what I was born for. And you keep on doing day after day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And you feel like you haven't accomplished anything. You're the same shegets as you always were. Chas v'chalila. The truth of the matter is that it's not true. The truth of the matter is that you are very, very different every single day when you go to daven. And no matter how you daven, you put on your tefillin, you went to daven, you are a different person than you were before davening. But your measuring tools of measuring difference of how you used to be and how you are very crude. They're based on feelings. Feelings is a very, very crude and fickle measurement. Rabbeinu said it's very important for you to work on being besimcha all the time, because simcha affords you expanded consciousness, which enables you to two different things. When you're constricted, you get alone. Just don't talk to me. I ran out of bandwidth. Kodesh Baruch Hu wants you to come to him. Yeah, you know what you did, or you think you know what you did. You don't even know what you did. You don't know what Kodesh Baruch Hu wants from you. You don't know how many of the things that you did you had to do, because Kodesh Baruch Hu wanted you to be there, because there were neshamas that you're supposed to take out. And you don't know how many of the things that you think, what the heck, what did they do already? What's the big deal? That are tremendous offenses against Kodesh Baruch Hu. You don't know. You don't know. But stick and cleave on to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and beg him, B'no shel olam, just get me close to you. Please, please, please get me close to you. I'm begging you. And again, because between you and me, it's not about, okay, HaKadosh Baruch Hu already answered me. Great, wow, gewaldig. It's not about that. It's about the fact that you are keeping on. That's the victory. That's the victory. If you were to argue with your boss or argue with, the king or whatever it is, what are you arguing with me? Offer you have, who the heck are you? But Kadosh Baruch Hu is not like that. Kadosh Baruch Hu knows exactly who you are. He's the only one, here in the Tzaddik Emes, the only one who know who you really are. They're the only ones who know exactly why you're in the world. They're the only one who know why you had to go through whatever it is that you went through in your life. And why you keep on going through whatever you have to go through. Whenever it is you're sitting there, whenever it is that you're just sitting there, and you're talking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you feel, I really don't have what to say. And I'm not interested in whatever it is that I feel I need to say. I don't really want to say it. And whatever it is that I want to say is foolish. Or, I don't know. And you sit there and you stand there, or whatever it is that you do. And you talk to Kodesh Baruch Hu. And you say, Ribono Shel Olam, please, I don't know what to say. I don't have the words. But first of all, thank you for everything. Thank you for everything you're giving to me. All the kindness, all the pleasure, all the plenty, all the chesed, all the goodness. Thank you for the tzaddik. Thank you for the good friends. Thank you for all these things. And ultimately, Ribono Shel Olam, thank you for giving the siyata d'shmaya to sit before you and talk or try to talk, even though I have as much motivation to do it as to have a root canal without Novocaine. I really don't want to do it. But I force myself to do it because this is what I need to do. To be able to do this for Kodesh Baruch Hu, that's the victory. That's the thing that makes Kodesh Baruch Hu happy. Kodesh Baruch Hu has no problem just open up the floodgates of Ratzon. Man, you'll fly. You'll be hypersonic, not just supersonic, but hypersonic. You will just zoom through whatever it is, all the madrigas, what Kodesh Baruch Hu will have from this. HaKadosh Baruch Hu then, as Rabbeinu says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will serve himself by himself. But the fact that you overcome your feeling of insecurity, your intimidation, your feeling of inferiority, your shame, the feeling that you are being such a chutzpaniak, just even coming and asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for any of this. That's the victory that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is happy about. This is what it's all about. That's the name of the game. So Ad Kan was Sicha Samech Zayin, but let me just take a quick look. Samech Tet, 69. So, Bezrat Hashem,